Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. This is time for the Scout Report, where we're looking ahead to the next game. Next up, it is Peterborough on Saturday afternoon with one of the few remaining League One fixtures this week in an international break. We have Charlie from Up the Poshcast joining us. How are you doing, Charlie?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Excited for the game on Saturday.
Should be a really good game. Let's just kind of sum your season so far. You're a point ahead of us. Before the weekend, we were feeling like we've had quite a poor start. Where's your sort of first 9 or 10 games? How are you feeling about the start?
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat as you. We were sort of told that top 6, top 2 is the ambition. It always is when we're in League One, Peterborough. So we were disappointed not to be picking up loads of wins. Our home form was terrible for the first month of the season. So if we win on Saturday, we'll, I think, be up in the playoff spots. So that will be sort of more where we want to be, and we'll look to try and stick around there. And there have been some more promising signs of late, but yeah, it's been a difficult and a bit of a disappointing start.
Darren Ferguson's been there for I think his fourth spell. How is the current spell going? I assume he's very, very well liked. Bear in mind, he keeps coming back, and he clearly likes the club, and it seems like a good relationship back and forth between him and the fans.
Yeah, he's a great fit for Posh, for what we need in terms of a manager. His style of football is really exciting. Gets you off your seat, which is what we need. He is perfect for the club. This stint has been really good. So he came in with a 6-month spell left of the 2022-23 season. Looked like we didn't have a hope in hell of going up, and then he got us in the playoffs on the final day, snuck us in, and we nearly went up, but then Sheffield Wednesday happened. And then last season was fantastic. We were quite narrowly missing out on automatic promotion. We were right in the mix until sort of the last 5 or 6 games of the season. And then we ended up going out in the playoffs again, but we won the EFL trophy at Wembley, which was great. And then this season we were told to expect sort of more of the same. It's not quite worked out. He's struggling a bit, I think. I don't think he has a squad that's as good as he would have liked going into the season. He's fallen out with one of our star players, Joel Randall, which seems to have been patched up, but he did have a sort of time where he exiled him to the under-21s. And so, yeah, it's been difficult, and he's been very unlucky with injuries as well. We are absolutely hampered by injuries, but it's been an all right spell. It's been good for the most part, and we're looking to be potentially on more of an upward trajectory again now.
If I could just take you back, I want to ask you about Jonson Clarke-Harris. He's not had the greatest start for us. I'm not sure he's fully fit, to be honest. When he played for Peterborough, he scored millions and millions of goals. When was he best? And of course, how did Peterborough get the best out of him when he was scoring those goals?
I think sort of building a team around him, like not fully, but having really good crosses of the ball, having players that will get service into him both aerially and to his feet, having pace around him so he doesn't have to sort of run as much. So yeah, surrounding him by players that play to his strengths, because if we needed him, he'd always score that goal. He was massive when we got promoted up to the Championship. He was just a proven goal scorer. He didn't really play for us last season because he really just didn't fit the new way we were playing, and we opted to go in a new direction. But even then, he was probably the most important player in the changing room, and really supported the lads. So yeah, you've sort of got to give him the tools, give him loads of service, get the ball into him in dangerous areas, and most of the time he's going to score from those opportunities.
Yeah, hopefully that comes for us. Let me ask you about Steve Evans as well, who's coming back. I'm sure he's back a few times. What is the general view of Steve Evans? He keeps telling us that he lives in the area. What's the Peterborough view of Steve Evans?
I think it's very mixed. It's very mixed.
Always been for him.
Yeah, he's a very Marmite figure. I think probably he has a bit more hate than love potentially. But listen, I find him an incredibly frustrating manager. To be honest, he can never admit that his team have just been beaten. There always has to be some sort of reason, the referee was rubbish, or, the sun was in our goalkeeper's eyes, or something like that. He always finds a way to make it not his or the player's fault. He's very complimentary of Posh, though. I think he does attend Peterborough games. He said in the past that, when he retires and all said and done, Peterborough will be the team that he goes to watch the most often, because he has a real affinity with the club. and obviously he knows the city really well. And I think if Darren McAntony wasn't at the club, he'd probably really like to manage us again, because obviously his first spell didn't go well. And I do think he does have I think he does really like the club. He's always complimentary about us, always in interviews. So yeah, I don't mind him. I know there's a lot of sections in our fan base that hate him and a very small minority that quite like him. But no, I don't mind him. I think, listen, he is what he is. You're never going to get a straight answer out of him, I don't think, in an interview. But he's a good manager and he knows how to win football matches.
Yeah, he's referred to Darren Ferguson as several times as the best manager in the league so far this season. So he's prepped us for a expected tough game this weekend. Just talked about the style of Darren Ferguson, then what we to expect of this kind of current Peterborough side and the style.
Pace is probably our biggest asset. We have, probably the quickest player in the EFL up front, Ricky J. Jones. You think he can do 100 meters in like 10 point something seconds. He's rapid. He could be a sprinter if football wasn't his chosen profession. So yeah, he's going to be a big part. Then you've got the sort of quality of Poku on one wing, who's our top goal scorer. I think one of the league's top goal scorers as well. He's always able to pluck a moment of magic out of somewhere, a long range strike or a little skill to set up another player up. And then just frailty throughout the team, I think, is the rest of it. We aren't particularly tough. We're quite easy to break through, I think. We get cut open quite easily, especially in the midfield. And, our best midfielder's missing, got suspended for Saturday, so that's not going to help. Archie Collins. So, yeah, I think we're a bit frail. We've got massive centre-backs. They're both like well over 6'3", 6'4". They're both big, and our fullbacks are decent, but frailty in the middle of the pitch and pace up front.
You mentioned Ricky J. Jones is somebody that, if you watch League One football, you'll probably be aware. Anybody will be aware of him. Peterborough have got a record of selling on, or creating good strikers and going on to do very, very, very good things. Can he be the next one that goes on to really, really great things?
I think he's got massive aspects of his game that need to be improved. My understanding from what I've heard, though, is that he was very close to a move to Sheffield United in the summer, and it was only their proposed takeover that not going through that meant it didn't happen. So, listen, he's a great player, and he's getting better every single time I watch him. And if he carries on at this trajectory, we will sell him for a lot of money, and he will go to a higher level and play really well. It's just we're not in the most favourable contract situation for him, I don't think. I think he's running out of time on his deal. It might even be in his last year. But no, I think he will be a very good player, and he's one to definitely look out for on Saturday.
I just mentioned the general vibe around Peterborough. So, from the outside, Peterborough look like a club that are always challenged at the right end of the league in League One, but then you often sell your best players for really, really good deals. But then it's quite rare that the money helps you get back to the Championship, other than that was that season in COVID. How is the fan feeling around the sort of the Peterborough model at the minute? And is there hope that it can break you back in the Championship soon enough?
There are some very skeptic fans who say that it's a poor model and that we should be trying to do, what I don't want to sort of throw you guys under the bus, but do what the type of thing that Rotherham are doing and sign loads of like experienced heads, free agents, and be utilising that market and not necessarily have the young players in the team as well. But it's not the way Darren McAntony works. And to be honest, whenever we sell big players, usually we replace them with someone just as good, if not better. We're so good at recruiting. Every single player, in our squad right now has a short list of 5 options for if they suddenly a big bid comes in. We know who we're going to replace them with. We're very proactive in the transfer market. We replace players before they've even been sold sometimes. So I think it's a good model. I really like it. I think it's exciting. It keeps the team fresh, and watching a young player is always, for me, more exciting than watching sort of an older, experienced player. I much prefer to see a young player, and it's also a lot easier to accept mistakes and accept maybe issues with young players than it is to accept it when it's a 31-year-old who's played 600 League One games. So I think I like the model. I think having a young team's really exciting, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Fair enough. Let us finish on a prediction then, Charlie. It's both teams will be looking at this, I think, and thinking, right, if we can win this game, that's kind of a real step in the right direction. Certainly from my point of view, is that the same? And how? What do you think the score will be?
Yeah, I think it's the same for us. I think at home we'll be confident to beat you. We've won 3 of our last 3 at home. You know, we're looking for a 4th straight home win. We're improving steadily every game, I think. Still some massive issues to sort out, but we're getting there. And I think Saturday, you know, against the Rotherham team, that you're not particularly the team that I think anybody thought you were going to be at the start of the season at the minute. You're going in the right direction, but, you know, I think you're still struggling a bit. So I'll probably go for an optimistic 2-1 Posh win. I think Clarke-Harris is going to probably score because he's going to score. But I think we will manage to get the win 2-1.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Charlie. We will put the links to the podcast in our show notes as well. So if you want to check those guys out, please do so. Thank you all who have watched. Make sure you've subscribed and give this video a like as well. We will see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.